welcome back here to Daily Bets on FTN with the Spittin Statistician. I am the Spittin Statistician, Dane Martinez, and today we've got my man Benny Ricciardi joining the show on a Tuesday. What's going on, man? Let's find some props in the NBA. How you doing?
Pretty good. I wish we had a little bit of a better NBA slate to talk about here tonight. We got 4 games, so it's decent for a Tuesday. I mean, there's been a lot of Tuesdays where we only have 2 or 3, so at least we got a couple to talk about. But man, these injuries are piling up here in the NBA. It's way too early in the NBA for us to have this many injury issues going on right now. Whatever happened to the old days of guys playing I remember Larry Bird not being able to get off the ground and going out there and still wound up playing 77 games a year or something like that. This is getting a little ridiculous early here.
It is. And didn't the commissioner come and say that we were going to have to manage that rest and they could even be fined or lose draft picks or something like that? They tried to do specifically I think the national spotlight games, but you're right. We are only a month and a half into the season and everyone still apparently needs their rest. And you're right. Out of the 4 games tonight, we were talking about it before, it looks like whether it's injury or COVID or just not in, it is a little bit scant to say the least tonight. But to be honest, Benny, to me, that provides opportunity because with some people out there, right, the kind of options for who, I don't know, soak up that usage, right? Soak up that production, those shots. I think, it kind of, it whittles it down and you can kind of try to focus on it. So I think we actually have some opportunity today. Before we get into some of the games, let me ask you though, Benny, because this happens all the time. We're doing the show here in the afternoon, and then we used to do a show called DFS Lineup Lock or something, and we would be getting that information at 6:15. Oh, now this guy's not in, or oh, this guy's going to rest on the second of a back-to-back. How do you, in general, handle that in the NBA? Is it you look at back-to-backs, whoever has that, and find who should be the 6th man and know that they're going to get some more opportunity? Or, when you see this, I treat it as an opportunity. What do you do when you see kind of so many people being in and out these days in the NBA?
Well, I mean, yes, you definitely do look at the back-to-backs and all that stuff, and that is one part of it here. But really, the big thing you have to look at here, for me at least, the first thing I look at, obviously you wake up in the morning, you start looking at a slate that you're looking at, guys that are questionable, guys that are out, guys that are doubtful, all that stuff. You want to at least make a note of it, right? Because those are guys you're going to have to go back and check on later on in the day. The other thing I start making notes for when I'm doing that, the first thing I like to tell people is if a guy was out, in my mind, if he's listed as questionable or doubtful, it's more likely he's going to remain out than it is he's going to play. So until I get the news that guy is going to play, I operate and, go through my numbers looking at it as if that guy's going to be out. And the same thing on the flip side. If a guy played the last game and is listed as questionable again, I'm going to operate under the assumption that he's playing until I get that solid news. So that's step 1 of the process. Now, step 2 of the process, unfortunately, is going on right about now as we're talking here this afternoon right now, Dane. And what that is every team has a shoot around, right? So the teams on the East Coast probably already finished their shoot around or at least started their shoot around. The teams in the Midwest and on the West Coast are probably doing their shoot arounds now. And the reason why I say that's important is because usually if a guy is going to play, then he'll be out there at shoot around. If he's out there at shoot around, he's got his cutoff jersey on or his, mellow hoodie with no sleeves or whatever he's doing out there, you have a little more confidence that guy's going to play. And the beat writers are really, really good source of information here. So again, you get over to Twitter, you can follow the beat writers. There's beat writers for every team. Some of them are better than others. The more you do this, the more you learn about who are the guys you could trust, who are the guys that are plugged in, who are the guys that are not. And there's a lot of lists out there too. You can go out there, you can find some lists of people who have all these things. And, you basically just look at the list. Okay, XYZ, these guys were at shoot around. They were shooting around. That gives me confidence that they're probably going to play. Or, these 3 guys miss shoot around. They're listed as questionable. That's going to be a red flag for me that, okay, there's a good chance this guy's not going to play. And then the third thing you got to do is we got to look at the props, right? That's what we're here. We're trying to make some daily bets. We're trying to make people some money, and you're going to start looking at the props. So if you look and you see that some of these guys already have there is nobody who has better information than Las Vegas. Right. Guaranteed. The books always know. Yeah, the books always know this is what they do, right? So if you look and you see that there are props listed for a team or some of these players that you're worried about whether or not they're going to play, then that probably means they're going to play. If you look at the books and the books still don't have, here's a perfect example tonight is, earlier today, there were no props up for Memphis. Now, all of a sudden, there's a John Morant prop up. John Morant went from being doubtful to being questionable. that would lead me to think John Morant's going to be playing tonight. Now, again, I don't know how many minutes he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. I don't know if he's going to produce the way he normally does. But at least the fact that the books have props up for him means that the books got some information, or at least are leaning to or thinking that he's more likely to play than be out. Now, on the flip side of this, you cannot find the LeBron James prop yet today. Why? Because LeBron James missed the last 4 games, is listed as questionable again tonight, and we don't know whether or not he's going to play. Now, again, they haven't had their shoot around yet, so we don't know if he's out there shooting around, if he's going to be available to play. But there's a little bit of a hint there, the fact that you don't see him in any of those props and that those props aren't listed. So there are little things you can look for that give you hints here. And the reason why it's important is, especially with some of these guys that are, like big time players that might be listed as questionable, because yes, if they don't play, that's obviously going to boost everybody else up. But the minute that they announce for sure that LeBron James is out, well, you're going to get a bump on Anthony Davis points. You're going to get a bump on Russell Westbrook rebounds and points. You're going to get a bump on Lonnie Walker points. So you want to kind of have an idea that, hey, if this guy's not going to play, and I really like Lonnie Walker's scoring, for example, today, I want to take this early because I'd rather get it at 14.5 or 15.5 than wait till after the news when it bumps to 17.5 or 16.5. So that's the thing you can do. Occasionally you may get burned doing that, but I find more likely than not, you're getting a number that's 2 or 3 points, better than the number you're going to get later on. And I feel like you're usually on the right side of that more than the wrong side. So are you going to end up on the wrong side every once in a while? Yeah. But you know what? You're going to end up on the right side more often than not. And that's really what we want to do. Nobody's going to win every bet they make. You just want to put yourself in the best positions that you can. And more often than not, you're going to be in a good position if you follow those rules. So that's the way I look at it.
No, I like that. And first of all, if anybody tells you that they hit every bet that they make, they're lying to you, okay? The best folks in the business are happy to hit at like 60%. That's all we need to keep inching it up.
60% is a great year. I'll take 60%. Yeah, even 50, 55, 57,
we're looking
I'm happy.
for 56, 57. That's what I'm telling you. I'm saying if anybody tells you that they're hitting at an 80, 90% clip and then trying to sell you their well plays, it's obviously enough for you to go the other way. I like a couple things you said though there, Benny, and I'm starting to think about this as well. Kind of anticipate and maybe plant the flag, because if you do have some props there, but other guys questionable, like you said with the LeBron James example, as soon as he's ruled out, all of a sudden AD's boards are going to go up. Other guys' points are going to go up because they have to take that slice of the pie and kind of allocate it elsewhere. So if you have a strong hunch, you see a veteran on the second of back-to-backs, you know that he's been questionable, like you said, you may want to kind of plant that flag. That's what we're doing here at FTN Bets, not only giving you a fish, but teaching you how to fish. I like the other thing you said. There you go, reel it in, Benny, right there here on Daily Bets. The other thing you said is it's kind of like that inertia. Things at rest tend to stay at rest, and things in motion tend to stay in motion. And quite frankly, if someone's been out the last 3 or 4 games, I'm not backing them anyway until I see them on the court or floor or ice or whatever it is, and I know what they look like. So definitely be sure of that. And listen, we're going to be doing this show at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So always coming over to Daily Bets is another way you can do it. And by the way, not only Daily Bets, but go to FTN, get your free trial right here, ftnbets.com/free. And by the way, if you use the promo code SPEEDS, you'll get 20% off. So let's apply this now here to tonight's slate. You said there's 4 games on the slate. One game I'm intrigued by, Ben, is the Ben Simmons return revenge action here as the Nets go to the city of brotherly love. It's an 8-point spread right now, and I know you were saying a ton of guys for Philly are out, and that leads you to liking a side in this one.
Yeah, not even just a ton of guys for Philly are out. I mean, listen, there's a ton of guys out a lot of nights for a lot of teams, but it's the 3 highest usage guys on the Philadelphia 76ers that are out tonight. It's Tyrese Maxey, it's James Harden, and it's Joel Embiid. Those are the 3 guys who basically make this team go. Now, again, you could have one of those guys out. You mentioned it before. If a guy's out, the production is going to go other places, right? So let's say James Harden's out. Okay, well, we've seen games with James Harden out. Tyrese Maxey gets a big bump. He takes more shots. He has the ball in his hand more often. He's doing a lot more on that offense. Joel Embiid will see a little bump in his shots as well and everything else there. Tyrese Maxey's out. Okay, well, we still have Harden. Harden can pick up that slack. Joel Embiid can pick up that slack. The difference in this case, though, is the guys who are normally the guys that are going to pick up the slack are all the guys that are out. So right now, instead of having, oh, well, that just means more shots for Embiid, or that just means more production for James Harden. What that now means is that, the ball is going to be in the hands of DeAnthony Melton, Shake Milton. You're going to have, Montrezl Harrell and I don't know, Georges Niang and
keep going down the list.
I mean, it's not rocket science here, guys, right? Like, there's a reason James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid and all these guys are names that we know, because these guys are efficient basketball players. Even James Harden, who people are like, oh, he shoots too much, he takes too many shots, he does all this. But if you look at his numbers, he's still a very efficient scorer when he's out there on the floor. These other guys that are going to be subbing in for him, yeah, you might get 20 points out of Shake Milton tonight, but it's going to be 20 points on 20-something shots as opposed to Harden, who scores 20 points on 15 shots, right? Or, you're going to have, all right, maybe Montrezl Harrell has a 20-10 game, right? But, Joel Embiid's 20-10 game would have also been maybe a 30-15 game in this situation. So you have guys now that are going to be less efficient than the guys that are out there on the floor. So, again, that's going to lead me to be looking elsewhere. It's going to lead me to think that the Philadelphia 76ers, they're going to get the same number of possessions as they always do in games, but they're not going to do as much with those possessions as they normally do. So that's going to lead me to think that they're going to score less points tonight. And then you look at the other side of this game, the Brooklyn Nets, who have not been great so far to start this year, but they haven't had the full team that they're going to have tonight.
Right.
Kyrie Irving missed a bunch of games because of his Twitter account. Ben Simmons missed a bunch of games because of his head. And, you also have Nick Claxton, who just missed the last game or two for undisclosed personal reasons.
Yep.
I don't know what the deal is there. But again, they haven't had all these guys together. Now you actually have all these guys together. The Nets, for arguably the first time all season, are going to have their entire team here together. So here we are on the one hand with the team that we know is going to be less efficient tonight. And then on the other hand, we have a team that's going to be probably at the best we've seen them all year, because they're at full strength finally and not subbing all these random guys in. And again, it just goes to show you why I like the Sixers, why I don't like the Sixers here tonight, because when you take one of those pieces off the Nets and you put the replacement level player in there, we saw what happened over the last couple of weeks. So I really like the Nets. You can still get them now on PointsBet at -107 for a 7.5 number. And I think DraftKings has them at that 7.5 number as well at -110. So if you have either one of those books, that's where I'd be looking to get this money down tonight.
Yeah, definitely shop around. In some places it's at 7.5. At some places it has grown to 8. Benny, I'm on a prop in this game, and I love that you talked about the efficiency of who's going to be out there for Philadelphia, right? First of all, this is the lowest total on the board tonight. I see it at around 217. So that's another kind of piece of evidence for what we're talking about. And you're right. I think Philly's going to miss shots. Okay. I think Philly's going to miss shots. So give me Kevin Durant over 6.5 rebounds as my prop. I think there's going to be a ton of missed shots. You did mention that Claxton should be back after he missed that for personal reasons, right? And so he is someone who will join in on the rebounding. Simmons will as well. But I like Kevin Durant to get at least 7 boards. He's gone over this number 7 of his last 10. He's averaging just underneath 7 boards for the season. And remember, no Embiid means the middle will not be clogged up. Who is getting rebounds for Philly? I think there's some opportunities there. And then the other piece of what you're talking about here, I think the shot distribution tonight from Philly is going to be more outside. I think they're going to be not from inside as much as usual. Longer rebounds to the guys on the wing. For me, it all adds up to more Kevin Durant boards. I like him going over 6.5, and it sounds like we're on a similar narrative for how we see this one playing out here. I know you have another prop in this game as well, coming down to Royce O'Neal, correct?
Yeah, so, Tyrese Maxey is very good handling the basketball, right? He's not a guy who turns it over. He gets them into the offense. He gets the ball to the guys that he wants to get it to. You look at Shake Milton and DeAnthony Melton. The last 2 games with these guys being the main guys for them, they've had 8 and 9 turnovers just from their backcourt every game. Whereas on average, you're normally getting 1 or 2 turnovers out of Maxey and maybe 2 or 3 turnovers out of Harden. So there's already going to be almost double the turnovers that we've seen from the guards in on Philadelphia here. So that already is going to be a opportunity for guys to get more steals and have things go there. Okay. And then the other part of this too, the other part of the same equation is, when you have this many guys that are out, and especially when you're taking primary ball handlers like James Harden and Tyrese Maxey, 2 guys that Philadelphia start together and then split up throughout the game so that they always have at least one of those guys on the floor to handle the ball. you're going to have some really funky rotations going on for the 76ers tonight. You're going to have guys who aren't used to playing with each other, who aren't normally on the floor together at the same time, who may even play the same positions and are now playing out of position there. So I don't think the offense is going to be very crisp. It's not going to be very, efficient. You're going to see guys make those passes where the one guy cuts back door and the other guy throws the ball out to the wing because they're just not used to playing with each other. And that happens. So when you have those stupid turnovers and those stupid mistakes happening, there's going to be more opportunities for steals and blocks in this game. And the guy that I really like is Royce O'Neal, right? Royce O'Neal came over to the Nets. He's not a scorer. He's not somebody that you would even count on to get double-digit points in any games. He's over here because he defends and he rebounds. So I like the idea of Royce O'Neal getting over 1.5 steals and blocks in this game that I think is going to be a very sloppy game from the Philadelphia side. It's even money on DraftKings right now. That didn't make any sense to me. I actually like a lot of the steals props. You could basically go down the list of the guys on the Nets and look at their steals props today and put them in there. But the guy that I had the most faith in is Royce O'Neal because I almost bet the Kyrie Irving one. It's over 1.5 steals for a plus 160. But it's Kyrie Irving, so you don't know if he's going to play a ton of defense. We don't even know if he's going to get 30-plus minutes tonight. He might only play like 24 or 25, even if the game does happen to stay close, which I don't think it will. But even if it does, but the Royce O'Neal one I had a lot of faith in. Royce O'Neal is averaging 1.7 steals and blocks per game already this season. So to give me even money in a situation that I like on a guy that's already averaging over the number that we're taking here today, I think there's some value in that number. So I like Royce O'Neal over 1.5 steals and blocks. Plus 100 on DraftKings.
All right, there you go. Just another way to play what we believe will be a sloppy, inefficient offense from Philadelphia tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. Another game that we both have props on is this Sacramento-Memphis game that's going on in the Grindhouse. Let me give you mine first. We were joking before the show that, no Desmond Bane. We're still iffy on Ja Morant. So to me, who's next man up from the outside? To me, that's Dillon Brooks, okay? And I've got him over on his threes. Now, they set it at 2.5. So to go over it is actually plus money at plus 120 at some books, okay? He averages 6.5 attempts from downtown per game. He's been hitting 2.4 for the season. So that's right at that level, like you were talking about with the blocks and the steals. But here are two things that improve that number tonight for me. The first, they're playing the Sacramento Kings, and that defense is bad. Okay, 28th in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, and I believe 114.9 per game. So I do believe Memphis will still be able to score. And without Bane, I think that from outside, it is in fact Dillon Brooks. This game has the highest total on the board at 234. We all know the Kings will give up some points, and with a uncertain backcourt, I know Bane's not going to be there. And you talk about Ja Morant, now some props, starting to pop up. Even if he does play, I don't know that he gets, this is a guy who was being listed as week to week just a couple of days ago. So now all of a sudden to think he'll play and that he'll get 20, 30 plus minutes, I just don't see it. And quite frankly, Dillon Brooks has never seen a shot that he doesn't like taking. So I think that he will take even more and he will make some against this bad Sacramento defense. I saw it at big time plus money. Give me Dillon Brooks going over his 2.5 threes, which is the number. And I know you also are looking for someone who may score in Memphis tonight against, like I said, a bad Sacramento defense. Where are you going for the points prop?
Yeah, I like the one that you have too. These were actually the two guys I was debating. You look at Dillon Brooks last game, he took 30 shots. He took 30 shots. Like, dude, Kobe Bryant didn't even take 30 shots a game. And Kobe was
the pace is going to be there tonight. The pace will be there tonight. There will be shots.
Absolutely. Listen, we've already seen since they announced that Ja may play, we've actually already seen the total go up in this game. It opened, I think, at 232, and now it's already up to 234, 235, I think, in some of the spots as well. But I like Jaren Jackson Jr. as a guy that's there. So he's going to be available tonight, and he's been in and out of the lineup. He missed the beginning of the season. This is only going to be the third game that he's played so far this year, right? And he played 25 minutes in each of the last two games. He put up 20-something points in the last game. Didn't have a very good game in the first game when he came out. And people are worried, Jaren Jackson, how can you play? He's only going to play 25 minutes tonight. How can you take his over on points? So here's something that's interesting that I saw when I was doing my research today. Do you know how many minutes Jaren Jackson averages for his career?
22.
27. That's it.
All right.
So even if he plays 25 tonight,
It's not out of the norm.
It's not like he's off from his career average all that much. And he averages just shy, it's like 15.8. So just shy of 16 points a game in 25 minutes. He played the Sacramento team 3 times last year. In the 3 games that he played against them last year, he had over 16.5 points in all 3 of those games. One of those games, he played 22 minutes. One, he played 26. One, he played 28. You average all that together, Dane, it's 25 minutes. So it's exactly what we're looking at here tonight. He had 17 to 1 game. I think he had 22 or 24 in the other game or something like that. So Jaren Jackson, for his career, averages 0.64 points per minute, right? So 25 minutes, 0.64. That's the 16 points that we're looking at here tonight. Against the Sacramento Kings last year, though, a very bad defense, as we mentioned. Like you said, this is a game where you'll be looking for some upside. In the 3 games against Sacramento last year, he averaged 0.77 actual points per minute. So again, 0.77, we need him to get 16.5. That equates to about 21.5 minutes. If he plays more than 21.5 minutes, he should average over these 16.5 that we need him to get. He's probably going to play 25 minutes, which would equate out to a little bit over 19 points here. So I think we even have a little bit of an edge of about 10 to 20% on this number here tonight. And I think it's just a really good one to get. I took it on DraftKings at minus 115. It's also available on Caesars. It was like minus 118 or 120 over there. So DraftKings had the best number on it. But I like Jaren Jackson Jr. in 25 minutes tonight to score over 16.5 points and get me another W.
No, I like that. And I also, everything you're talking about makes sense. And the last point I'll make here is you got to shop around on these props, okay? You're going to get different numbers. You're going to get different juice on those numbers. You may be at the same exact number for the prop, but in one shop, it'll be at minus 110 and another, it'll be at plus 102. So make sure you do, in fact, shop around. And if you need to shop around, you got to check out the prop shop tool on FTN Bets. I find it incredible. You put in the guy that you're thinking about, you put in the team that you're thinking about, and they will do a little comparison shopping for you and show you what that number is at all of the books. It always pays to have accounts at all of these and find the best number, of course, after you tune in to Daily Bets with the Spittin Statistician here on the FTN Network. I think that's what we got here. So, Benny, we got a little Jaren Jackson, got a little Dillon Brooks. I like KD. You like Royce O'Neal. And we all think that Philly is going to look sloppy tonight. And we like the Brooklyn Nets covering the number. So that'll do it for another episode here of Daily Bets. Don't forget here, we're giving you a 3-day free trial, but then you got to subscribe here, ftnbets.com/free to get all the great insights that we're talking about here on FTN Daily Bets. So we've got the holiday coming up, but Benny, after the holiday, you and I are going to be chopping it up on Fridays, giving our best NFL props for the week, receiving yards, anytime touchdowns, hoping to get people cash as we go into the weekend. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And you know what? You missed a perfect opportunity here to say that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to look sloppier than most people's 19 to 22-year-old friends at the bars tomorrow night. So
yes,
that's how bad Philly's going to be.
Big night at the bar tomorrow night. A big night at the bar for all those kids who are coming back home, back in their old room in their mom and dad's house, just happy to get the laundry done for them over this weekend. You are absolutely correct. But before they hit the bar tomorrow, they should tune in right here to FTN Daily Bets. I'm going to have Chris Meany joining the show. So we're going to get some goal scoring props, and I'll give you some thoughts on the Thanksgiving slate in the NFL as well. But that'll do it for us here. It has been another edition of Daily Bets on the FTN Network. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hammer that like button. You can follow us on Twitter and do more to get that cash. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time.